Hey guys, Boom here, Boom's Garage. Meet the Prairie Belle. This is a 1922 American LaFrance Model T fire engine. This was the first fire engine for Prairie Grove, Arkansas. They bought it when they started their fire department in 1922, bought it some brand new and had it shipped in. American LaFrance build, and I was lucky enough to get it from their fire chief. So it's all original. It's always been garage kept. It's in immaculate shape, but it's been sitting up for a long time. So we had some issues. I went through the entire fuel system, but now it's overheating and the firing was off. So that's what we're getting into now. So I have several different videos on different things with this thing as far as the cleaning out the fuel system and all. But today we're working on the Commutator. We're changing
Commutator.
and we're retiming it. We're getting the timing in sync. We'll show you how to do that. Check it out.
All right, so here we have a new day timer. That's actually the brand name. You can get them in many places. Check them out. This is my favorite timer. There's the brush. You see the style is different if you know the typical timers. This one doesn't groove out like the old ones do, and it stays sealed, and it's really good for water riding. It doesn't short out like the other ones do. They're color coded. The tongs are black, red, green, and blue. And that's what your wiring harness is supposed to be colored as, but a lot of them are wrong. So we're going to take a look at that. We're going to show you exactly what to do. I would not go by the color at all anymore. You want to check them out. So first things first, we're going to get in there. We're going to release the keeper nut or keeper bolt and go ahead and pull the timer off. Timer or commutator. You're going to pop the firing lever off of the top. There's a cotter pin in it. You have to pull it off first. And go ahead and pull the timer or commutator out. And again, you have the you have them the timing wires bolted onto it in a certain order, but this thing was out of fire order. Something was wrong with it. It was running wrong. So I'm just not going to trust it. Somebody's been in there monkeying with it. So I'm not going to go by the firing diagram or order that they have it in right now. I'm going to go ahead and test them and make sure I have them all in the right order. And this will show you how to do that. I'm going to go ahead and get the timer lever completely out of the way because we're going to end up having to adjust it later. That's just part of the process anytime you change a commutator. There's the lever. And change the length of the lever. You actually just bend it. So we're going to remove the nut from the brush that holds the brush on. Get it out. And then there's a keeper that holds the pin in place. You pull that keeper out, and then you have a pin that has the pull out. Right now, my pin is at the bottom, and I can't get to it, so I'm going to have to rotate the engine to get the keeper or the pin in the position where I can pull it out. This is a fire engine, so it doesn't have the crank handle on front, so I'm just having to bump the starter. I'm going to have to continuously bump that starter until I get the pin up to a position where I can pull the pin out. The pin's not held in by force, so literally once you get it to a position where you can get to it, it comes out very easily. The brush only goes back in one particular way, so you don't have to pay attention to it. When you put the new brush on, it's literally not going to go on any other way except for the way that it has to. And so I'm just bumping the starter until I get it to a position where I can get to it. Again, you would normally do this by the hand crank. Just twist it around till you can get to that pin. And I believe I'm almost there. I need a screwdriver. Get behind that head, pull the head out. Then you can get in there with some pliers and pull the pin out. And when you do that, the brush will pop right off. Then we're going to go ahead and remove that dust plate. It can ground out. These old original styles are ground out. The New Day timer really does not need it. It recommends to take it off. We're going to clean up around the engine housing right there so the New Day timer will get a good seal on it. So we're not going to go back on with that tin plate. Now here, I'm just going to go ahead and remove all of my wires. Again, I'm unsure if they're in the correct order, so I'm going to go ahead and remove all of them, and I'm going to test them individually. I want to test my wires anyway, so this is the way I like to do it. Instead of taking a wire off and putting it in the same place one by one on the timer, I prefer to do this method right here, because the added advantage is you get to test the strength of your wire. The wire could have some damage inside of the insulation. It could be broken completely in two. So if you have a lot of problems going on, it might not be just the timer by itself, or it might not be the timer at all. It could be a broken wire. So this method here would get it to where you can test the wires and then put them back in the correct places. And then you know they're in the correct places, and you know your wires are good. So I'm just going to take that timer out and throw it away. So then with my multimeter, I'm going to remove the wire from the coil box to where it's just a loose wire on both ends. It's not grounded. You have to do this. You have to remove it because you're testing just the wire. And now we're going to look for the correct wire. And then we're going to make sure the wire is in good working order. So we're testing all of them. Again, I had a lot of firing issues, and I was not sure about the firing order. And indeed, I did find out that they did have two of the wires in the wrong places. So that's one reason you do this. But another reason, again, is to check your wire just to make sure you got a good wire. I'm going through all of them. And I ended up having two red wires, a green wire, and a blue wire. So it's just they were all in the wrong places. So there's the correct wire right there. When you see it key up like that and drop back down close to zero, then you know you're in the right spot. I'm going to check all of them just to make sure and go back to the correct one. And then it keyed up and it dropped back down close to zero. Then you know we have a good wire. We have a good wire, and then I have the number one wire. So I'm going to put it in the corresponding number one spot on the commuter, which is the first one on the left side of the top. It rotates around in counterclockwise order, 1, 2, 4, 3. That's the firing order. So the number one coil wire will go to that spot there. That's the number one firing order on the commuter. We're going to go ahead and put that one back on, tighten it up, and then you're going to work your way around. Check every one of them. Again, there is a shortcut you can go by, and you can literally just take them off one by one on the commuter and put them back on one by one on the new commuter. But this way you get to test your wires too, and I highly suggest that. Your problem, and I know I'm repeating myself, but the problem may not even be in the commuter. It could be in a broken wire or a partially broken wire. This way we get to check those wires. We're also going to make sure they're in the right spots, and we're going to make sure that the wires are turned in the right directions on the commuter. I noticed whenever I was taking it off, there was wires running every different direction. They were getting into the fan belt, which could cut a wire. So I make sure that the top two wires are running around the top of the commuter, which would be the number 1 and the number 3 wires run around the top of the commuter back to the left, and then the number 2 and number 4 wires are running to the left and around the bottom of the commuter. You'll see that later in the diagram in the video. I show a pretty good picture of that, showing that I make sure that I have them run back, 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom, run back to the left. They're keeping them completely out of the way of the fan. So if you were watching, you'd see that I just found the number 2 wire. I put it in a corresponding spot, which is the second one down, running counterclockwise. Now this is a tricky spot. Watch this next one. The next one down around it is going to be the number 4 wire. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. There's the 4th wire. So that's the firing order, 1, 2, 4, 3. So we're going to go ahead and do the 3rd one now, which is number 4. We're We're going to pull it off. We're going to find that correct wire for the number 4 wire. And again, this one, the colors were all jacked up. Somebody has made a new wiring harness, and they used all different color wires, and they just did not go by the correct wiring colors. 50-50 shot, and I missed it on the first shot. Check the second one. There it is. There's our number 4 wire, and we're going to put it on the 3rd spot on the commuter. You can find a lot of this information in the Model T Ford service catalog, but whenever you're looking in that catalog, that's pretty much the service Bible for Model Ts. If you don't have it, I suggest you get it. But when you're looking at firing orders and timing, back then they didn't use the word timer a whole lot. So you're not going to see a lot of this information if you're looking under timer in the index. You need to look under commuter. Commutator. Anytime you're looking for timer information, just look up commuter in the index. Commutator. In the Model T Service Bible. Side note, I noticed after watching the video that I kept saying commuter. That's just old habits. That's the way I used to say it a long time ago, but it's actually commuter. Please forgive me. It only takes a few more minutes to do this method, but I find it to be very, very important because there have been so many times that was my problem, was a broken wire. So more than just checking the wires, we're going to go ahead and pull the plugs out too. We're going to clean them, we're going to gap them, and we're going to make sure we have good fire on this thing. While we're into it, why not? There's the number 3 wire, and it goes to the top, so that's the 4th spot. And if you saw how I went around the top with that number 3 wire, and I have it pointed back in the same direction as the other 3. But again, number 1 and number 3 will come from the top, 2 and 4 from the bottom. If you like this video, be sure to check out my others. I have a lot of tutorial videos and good tricks and tips and ways to do things easy. And I learned the hard way. Be sure to follow and like, share if you can. Thank you. I'm just going to hit all of them, make sure I have them all good and tight, good and snug. All right, looks good. So there's our commuter. Again, you see the wires, the top 2 running around the top of the commuter, the bottom 2 running around the bottom of the commuter, all of them pointing back to the left side. That way you're not going to have any wires to get in the way. Being that it's so close to the fan, especially the fan belt, is really easy to get one of those wires close up to the fan belt. And that fan belt, it wouldn't take long at all to go through the insulation and start nicking through your wire. Now we're going to go ahead and just pull the plugged wires off and the plugs. Again, we're going to take them inside and clean them up. Make sure they're gapped. Then we're going to put copper thread sealer on it to seal the threads to go back in the head. Get rid of those leaks, those pesky leaks. I think maybe I made this video a little bit too long, but it is what it is. All right, so there again, we've cleaned the base where the commuter meets the block. We're going to put the brush on. Again, it only goes on one way. I mean, it's completely dummy proof, for lack of a better term. Put it on there until you find the only way it can go on. You put the pin in. Having a hard time with it. Okay, now I'm good. Slide the pin in the spot, and there's a keeper that would go right over the top of the pin, and then you'll put your nut and snug it down. There's a completed process of putting the brush on. All right, make sure you have your timer lever hole at the top. And grease it up. So instead of having to oil these timers, these new day timers, you put the grease on them, and you only put it in there one time. The recommendation is put the grease on there, then after about 30 miles, take it off, wipe all the grease off, and put it back on, and you never have to grease it again. The main important part to me, though, is greasing the edge, the rim, the outside rim of the commuter, where the commuter meets the block. That's what keeps all the oil and grease out of it. Oil and water out of the commuter, out of the inside of the commuter. Now, I put grease on it this time, but in 30 miles, I'm going to pull it off. I'm going to wipe all that grease out, just like the recommendation says, and then I'm going to put some sealant on there when I put it back on. So we put it on, all the wires are out of the way, put the keeper back in place and tighten it up. And then I'll show you how to get the correct timing position. So it needs to be 2.5 inches from the center of this bolt to the center of the lever hole. 2.5 inches from center to center. So we're going to move the timer back. Now don't touch it. Now make sure your lever rod is the right length for that position. If it's not the right length, you want to pull it off and bend it to make it the right length. And yes, that's the right way to adjust it. Just bend it. Once you have it in the right spot, go ahead and work your lever a couple of times up and back and forth, because it does have some slack in there. And once you fully retard it all the way back up again, then check your measurement again. It's probably going to be off. And sure enough, it's a little bit off. Again, that's 2.5 inches when the lever is completely retarded, when the lever is all the way up. Spark lever all the way up, 2.5 inches from hole to hole center, and then get your lever the correct length to match that. Then go over there and check it again. Work that lever before you put the cotter pins in, and check your measurement again. Once you're happy with it, put your cotter pins back in, and you're good to go there. That timer is installed. It's timed properly, and it's a very good timer. It's going to last you a really long time. Again, only other thing you need to do is pull it off after about 30 miles, wipe all the grease off the inside, then put you some sealant around the lip and put it back in place, and you're good. There's the finished process. Nice clean install. That's what it's supposed to look like. Now we're going to get on the plugs, get those cleaned up a little bit. They look really good. It had the Champion X plugs in it. No need changing them. Those are good long life plugs. I like to put adapters in them a lot, and I actually did order adapter kit to swap these over to 15 millimeter plugs, but it came with the wrong plugs, so I don't have them in there yet. When I get the right plugs in, I will switch them over to some modern 15 millimeter hot burn plugs, but for now we're going to use the Champion X plugs. We're going to clean them up, make sure they're gapped right. Everybody's temperatures and environments are different, so just do you some studying for your correct gap. Mine is 0.30, and I'm happy with my gaps. So I'm going to put my copper thread sealer on there, just because all of these heads leak. That pipe thread, it has a leak pattern in there. I like to put the copper thread sealer on there. When I end up putting my adapters in with the 15 millimeter plugs, I'm going to put thread sealer on those adapters as well. I always do this. If I get a T in, that's one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to change the fuel system, clean the fuel system out, and I'm going to at least put some thread sealer on the plugs, copper thread sealer. I've seen some bad leaky ones. And these things run low compression, so what's the harm in it? We try to get as much compression as we can out, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 for the firing order. Same way for the plugs. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm sorry, not the firing order, but that's the corresponding coils is 1, 2, 3, 4, and they go on in that order. The firing order is achieved by the commutator. Commutator for the last time. So just put the plug wires back on in the same order as the plugs. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, that's it. I hope it helped a little bit. So if you want to see what I did with the carburetor, with the fuel system, with the head, with the radiator was really clogged up, so we had to soak some solution in it, and that's why we have the radiator off of it, because it was an extensive job cleaning the radiator out. I've got some other videos doing some easy jobs on the radiators, but this was a hard one, so if you have a really stubborn radiator, you may want to check that video out, or tune into the entire video that shows everything in one process, but it's kind of long. So that's it for today. I hope this helps. Boom.